Hi, Sam Spernat here for TheInformer. Today on Property Matters, we're just going to have a little bit of a chat around what we can see in 2021, and also as someone out there looking to buy at the moment, what you should be focusing on and how you should be looking for a property to buy. Because one of the big misconceptions is that, well, the agents will tell you about things. They really don't work for you. They work for the vendor of the property. And I think sometimes we can be a little bit confused about, well, whose interests are they operating in, other than their own, of course. But really, are they there to help you buy the property, or are they there to sell the property? And really, I think a lot of people need to just take a deep breath, stop, and remember that the agents are there to sell the property. As an advocate, I see a lot of people sometimes getting a bit confused, getting a bit muddled and unsure of what they should be saying to the agent, how they should be dealing with the agent, and really what they should be looking for in themselves. So I thought today we could talk about, well, what do you tell an agent when you're looking? Because we all know they ask the 101 questions of you, and sometimes you can probably give them a little bit too much information for your own good that can be used against you at a later time, a bit like dealing with lawyers and police sometimes. So what I thought is, how do you tell an agent your price point and what you're looking for without letting the cat out of the bag? So when talking to an agent, obviously they always ask you what your price point is, what your idea is of what you want, what are you looking for, what can they help you find. Now obviously they're only ever going to tell you about the properties that they have. So you really do need to keep an eye and a finger on the pulse. But what I also speak to a lot of my clients about is building a spec list. Sitting down and thinking about, do we need 3 bedrooms? Do we need 4 bedrooms? Are we looking for a home? Are we looking for an investment? And kind of get your game plan and your plan of attack together. So that involves knowing what your budget is, and that can be through speaking to your broker or your financial planner or accountant or things like that. And then going out and having a structured approach. So that means looking at properties that are within your price point, maybe properties that are just a little bit below your price point, and sometimes looking at things that are a little bit above your price point to see if really do you need to extend yourself to get what you want. But then when you're communicating that to the agent, I always say to my clients, be a little bit vague. Don't tell them that you've got a hard limit of $1 million, because magically that will be the purchase price they keep bringing to you, even if the property's not worth that. So what you want to do is keep a little bit of the old poker face, keeping your cards to yourself mentality and focusing on that. So when I'm talking to agents about what our clients have, we do put together a list of what we need, but we're a little bit vague around the price points, because obviously I don't want to just say to them, hey, they've got $1 million to spend, because as I said previously, they will magically have properties that are all at $1 million. Funny how that works, isn't it? Then what we do is we go out into the marketplace. I contact a lot of different agents, I speak to a lot of different agents, and sometimes we even speak to agents who aren't in the same areas about properties, because they'll know about other properties that their colleagues may have that they're not willing to share. So there is a little bit of gamesmanship that we pull with the agents in how we're looking. But when we do find a property that we believe suits our clients, it's important to go out there, have a look, and be direct with the agent. If you do have interest in the property, there's no problems in telling the agent, yes, we have interest, keep us informed, don't let us miss this one, we will be there to bid. All these sort of terms can really help you make it clear to the agent to keep you in the loop of what's occurring. But you don't want to just blurt out, I've got X, Y, Z to spend and this is perfect and I must have it, because that's when they'll start using that against you. So go out there, have a look, see what things are selling for, do your own research. I spend a lot of time looking at what things are sold for to understand what the potential sale price of a new property that's come to market could be for our clients. And a lot of the time my clients will email me properties, and sometimes the response sadly is, you just can't afford that, because we know it's going to go above their limit. And that also saves them a lot of time not looking at things they can't afford. And what we notice is we narrow the focus down. We look at a few different areas. We look at the surrounding suburbs. You know, there's the old saying about bridesmaid suburbs, which are when you've got an affluent pocket like, say, Toorak, the surrounding pockets around it, be it Malvern, Glen Iris, even Kew, sometimes that's where they'll find the affordable property for themselves if they are being priced out of that suburb. So what we want to look at is, well, what can you actually afford? Before you start going off and getting you emotionally involved in properties, you really want to know that you've got the budget to buy it. And you can only find that out by either speaking to someone like myself or doing your own proper market research. And look, it's not very exciting, it's not very fun driving around looking at 101 different properties every weekend and attending auctions only to be, you know, beaten and smashed out of the park by that person who's clearly got a far bigger budget than you. You want to make sure that you're in the mix, because there's no point in always being the runner-up, because what you end up then doing is chasing the market. And if you had have spent that little bit more at the start of the process 6 months earlier, you'll find that you could have got a far better property sometimes than what you're left looking for when the market's in a growing phase, as we see now, where we're starting to see prices increase. And that's where you've got to be a little bit careful not to spend time chasing the market. So what you'll notice is a lot of what I'm talking about is doing research, finding your price point, making sure you understand what you can buy. You know, if you've got $1 million to spend, don't look at properties that are quoted 1 to 1.1, you know, unless it's a private sale. Obviously, if it's going to go to auction, they're probably pitching it a little bit below what the vendor's real expectations are. Now, in the old days, we called that underquoting. Today, they'll call it a conservative quote range. So just remember, there is a lot of gamesmanship at play here, and that you need to understand your market. It's the biggest single investment a lot of people will make that are watching this. So you need to treat it with respect. You don't just willy-nilly go out and buy shares on a whim, although some people do. You do a lot of research, you talk to professionals in the industry. Real estate should be treated with the same respect. You can't just follow what's in the newspapers, what's in the media. You need to talk to the experts. You need to talk to the people who are on the ground and what they're seeing. And look, sometimes it is just taking a local agent out for coffee and being able to pump them for free information, because they will tell you what's happening. But always remember, they're there to sell properties. They're not there to buy them, and they're not there to offer you the best advice. They're there to give their vendors the best advice. So keep your cards close to your chest. It's something I harp on a lot about with people, is this: make sure you know what your message is, make sure you know what you're trying to achieve, and don't go out with a haphazard approach, because that's when you make mistakes. And because of the entry and exit costs into real estate with things like stamp duty, agents' fees, it can be a very expensive mistake to make, particularly when looking at investments. Sometimes we all get caught up on what the rental return is or what the capital growth is. It should be a combination of the two that you're looking at, because obviously we all want capital growth because that's what makes you wealthy, but you also need a rental return to help with the affordability, unless you're looking at it purely from an income generation point, and then that's a whole nother kettle of fish. So what I'd advise is, have a think about what you're trying to achieve. If it's a home, is it future-proof? Can you turn it into the home that you want it to be, or are you looking for a set and forget? So you need to really know what your goals are first. Once you've derived your plan of attack and from what your goals are, that's when you should then go into the marketplace and start looking to buy. If you go out with no plan, you're almost destined to make a mistake, because if you don't plan, you plan to fail. If you are interested in any information on the state of the property market and what's occurring, please do feel free to get in touch. But as I said, talk to the locals, talk to the agents who are on the ground, and gather information, because information is key to success. I'm Sam Spernat for Property Matters, and this has been The Informer. Thank you.